12. The Hanged Man. A young man hangs upside down in the air, suspended by his right ankle from a wooden gibbet. His hands appear to be tied behind his back, and his left leg hangs loosely behind his right. His face shows an expression of calm detachment, and in some packs his head is surrounded by a halo. The Hanged Man is one of the strangest of the tarot images. It cannot be found in any Orthodox Christian symbology, and is one of the clearest indications that the tarot trumps were designed to illustrate some non-Christian system of belief. The card is numbered 12. In Arabic numerals, it is the combination of the numbers 1 and 2, signifying the interaction of unity with duality, which gives birth to a third dimension. The perils of number 11 have been resolved, therefore it is a symbol of renewal and salvation. The hero has confronted the raging lion and knows it to be his very own shadow which wrestles with him. He becomes agonizingly aware that he is not one person, the conscious self he identifies with, but only part of a greater whole. He sees two halves which are antagonistic to one another, yet at the same time complementary. He cannot go back and reclaim the assured selfhood of his youth, yet equally he must not submit to his shadow. The only hope is to become free of both opponents, to step back into a central position in which he is balanced between the two. In so doing, he realizes that in casting himself off from the solid ground of his past consciousness, he can only trust that a larger power will support him and stop him falling into a psychic void. In order to proceed, he must have the courage to let go of all he has learnt, voluntarily release the grip of intellect, and allow the deeper forces within to take the reins. To deliberately float oneself in the secret tides of the unconscious implies a deliberate reversal of the teachings and values of the outer world, and the acceptance of a grave risk. The laws and values of the inner worlds are in many cases the exact reverse of those we are familiar with, and are only transgressed at one's peril. The seeker now has to pass two trials, that of courage and that of faith. Courage in that he must sacrifice all that his conscious mind holds dear, and also renounce the instinctual demands of his shadow. Faith in that he must believe in the existence of a higher self which transcends his conscious awareness. According to Jung, by descending into the unconscious, the conscious mind puts itself in a perilous position, for it is apparently extinguishing itself. The Hanged Man illustrates he who has taken his life in his hands and cast himself headfirst into the depths. His action has not been foolhardy, however, for he hangs safely suspended by the knot of his own faith. The knot is sometimes depicted as being formed like the living branch of a tree, the world tree, or the tree of life that grows through every plane of the cosmos. The Hanged Man's enraptured face reveals that his sacrifice has not been in vain, and that he has his reward. His torture is transmuted into ecstasy. Because he is balanced equally between the demands of both the conscious mind and its shadow, he finds himself in a blissful state of total freedom from desire. The hanging of a sacrificial victim from a tree is a well-known feature of religious cults in several parts of the world. In the Icelandic sagas, which has been written down before the middle of the 13th century, the Norse god Odin described how he hanged himself from the world ash in order to discover the mystic runes. I know that I hung in the windy tree for 9 full nights, wounded by the spear, consecrated to Odin, an offering to myself, on the tree whose roots are unknown. In Sumerian rites, the god Attis was hung in effigy each year on a pine tree. The tree is a symbol of the mother as the source of all sustenance. Those who die on the tree are therefore being reunited with their source, through which they may be reborn into new life. By sacrificing his life, the Hanged Man opens the way to his rebirth into the immortality of the spirit. The traditional interpretation of this card is that in order to achieve real success and fulfillment, one must align oneself with the rules of the universe rather than the laws of man. To do this requires courage, fortitude, and the faith in the values of the spirit. But for those who dare to assert their independence in this fashion, a reward will come, the gift of serenity and inward peace. In his negative aspect, the Hanged Man is the vague idealist who lives in his own imaginary dream world, located neither in heaven nor on earth, but suspended somewhere between the two in a place of his own invention. His eyes are turned inward, and he is blind to the beauty that lies all around him, as he hangs by the thread of his wild fantasy.